All right, we are back, everyone. This is Entrepreneur Nation on KUCI 88.9 FM. I'm your host, Ash Kumra. I have my friends Lisa Caprelli and Rob Arellano. Did I say it right?
You got it.
All right. Oh, man, I got to...
You can roll your R, but other than that,
Arellano. Did I say it? I'm just kidding. So, let me tell you why this is going to be a great show, because I mentioned on the show already that how to market to your customers is so key. And finding ways to market to them is how you build your business. And both of these individuals, I think, understand marketing to a certain degree. They've done it well. And one is what I call a media personality, someone who is a best-selling author, someone who has her own radio show. And the other person has done many businesses in what I would say the retail side, you know, both as a proprietor, both as a promoter, both as someone who like just understands what I call this SoCal, Orange County kind of vibe. It's funny because I've traveled all around the country doing speaking things, and I've met a lot of community builders, and like the thing that Southern California has its own unique charm. So whenever I meet entrepreneurs that like market to that charm, I find it interesting. So Lisa and Rob, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ash.
Good to be here.
So let's dive into a quick bio on both of you. So I'm curious, Rob, how did you get to do what you do right now? Like, walk us through like the big career highlights for someone to understand like the background you have, which led you to launching this amazing restaurant, which we'll get to.
Good question. I don't know how far back you want me to go, but essentially, I've always had a calling for hospitality. Always had a calling for, presenting environments and experiences to clientele. You know, all throughout my career. I started as a musician. Started producing my own shows as a musician.
Nice.
And that led into producing concerts and club nights and all sorts of different activations and different levels, and really sort of honed in my love for hospitality, which then drove me into catering and food and restaurants, and which really has brought me to where I am now.
Okay. One thing I find fascinating about you is, so I met you when you were involved with some nightclubs in Orange County. And so I'm curious, like, what made you get into that world? Because I felt that might have taught you a lot about consumer behavior, which might have helped you do other subsequent things, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it really sort of honed in, my formula, for identifying consumer behavior and what really makes people tick, and what makes people get out of their homes and experience something, whether it's in nightlife or dining. But yeah, it really was a great experience. And to be honest, I kind of stumbled into nightlife. I was never really a club guy. Like I said, I was more of a live musician. I was promoting live music shows, and it wasn't until someone came up to me and said, "Hey, these live music shows have a lot of people. I think you do really well in marketing, a nightclub." And I gave it a shot. I took on a night, the local nightclub, and it kind of just blossomed from there, and then got more into sort of the development and marketing side as opposed to the promoter side, and really sort of the nuts and bolts of the back end of the advertising, marketing, and branding of different venues. And,
okay.
Worked in different venues throughout Orange County and Southern California, some in San Diego as well.
Cool. Now, Lisa, talk about your journey. I mean, you, like I said, you are a media personality. You're an author. You've been an entrepreneur yourself. Like, what were the things that led you to where you are right now, you think?
Thank you. Well, the number one thing I think for many entrepreneurs is I use the word struggle. I grew up in El Paso, Texas, a border town. I came here when I was 29 years old with nothing but a $100 type story, and many people have those stories. And I think Southern California is a very entrepreneurial area, and so I just started having people mentor me. What do you do? Back then, I had already 10 years of experience in marketing and graphic design, and so I partnered with a mortgage broker very young. And we built a successful mortgage company. We did radio. We
Nice.
had radio shows. I did a talk show with Carrie Kasem, and today, we're friends and have done a lot of great things together. So fast forward to the recession, I did not like doing what I was doing anymore, and I find that with many entrepreneurs. Maybe we become serial entrepreneurs. We like to create, and so I started my own marketing and PR company. Still had a radio show, at that time. It was a business show, and then entered the love for interviewing entrepreneurs on what was their story, you know.
Yeah.
And that's been so much fun. I have a book called Skip a Step now that's about to launch in early 2019. I have 5 books that will be launched by next year.
Wow.
Yeah, I love stories of people, and everybody has a good story, and I teach people now how to write their own story. And so I've helped many CEOs, companies of all different industries market and brand themselves. And then I took a leap of faith about a year and a half ago and took a look at what is it that I love? What do I want to do? It's easy to get behind a company or individual and brand them and turn them into things they never thought possible. It's a lot of fun to make people very successful. I often say, you make someone wealthy, they're going to be your best friend.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun, and what I found is that people want to pay it forward. You help them, they help you.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I've always dreamed of writing a lot of books, and rather than just dream about it, I like to take action. I just started writing. Yeah.
And we're going to talk about one of the books that we talked about offline in a little bit. But thank you for sharing that. Rob, disclaimer, I love Mexican food, and I got a message from Rob a long time, like a month or so ago, and he was just telling me, hey, like, I have this restaurant, come check it out. And then at first I was like, okay, cool. But then I looked it up. I was like, okay, I love Mexican food, so when I saw it was a Mexican restaurant, I definitely wanted to try it out. And I was blown away by the food itself, but not just the food, but what makes it unique. So tell our viewers a little about your restaurant. I'm more curious about the inspiration behind it, because it's not just another good tasting Mexican food restaurant. It's like it has its own twist, right?
Absolutely. Well, you know, I always wanted to sort of tailor my career into the restaurant business, and I've been in the restaurant business, but you know, a restaurant of my own. And you know, looking back to my childhood roots, I grew up partly in Chula Vista, California, right on the border of northern Mexico, Baja Mexico. I have family that lives in Mexico. I'm half Mexican, and we'd always tour the local taquero eateries and taco stands, and it was my favorite dining experience as a child growing up. How can you not like that?
Right.
Food, you know, Mexican food coming right off the fire and into your hands. There's really nothing better. And I've always wanted to incorporate that into a restaurant experience. And you know, it really was just trying to find how to sort of blend the taco stand and sort of a full service kind of modern dining experience. And that's where I was sort of inspired, you know, by various things, but one of the main things was the Tepon restaurant with open cooktops, and we are kind of done at the age of experiential restaurants, you know, with shabu shabu and
Wait, I gotta interrupt you. I love that term, experiential. How do you say that term again?
Experiential restaurant.
What is your definition for that? It's really cool.
Well, it's more than just dining. There's interaction between host, chef, server, guest. There's some type of entertainment value to the experience. And you know, I think diners are asking for more these days. You know, it's, you know, I think gone are the days of just the you know, the standard cuisine. You know, people want, you know, really cool environments and different things of that nature, and so I think it's great timing that aspect. So I really wanted to tie in you know, the taco stand experience into the restaurant. The Tepon strategy was the best and most obvious way to really do that. So
so good.
We take that sort of service style, but we change it. We make our own. You know, the tables are a little bit, you know, they're a little bit higher. They're more of a taco stand experience, and we bring the taqueros right into the restaurant, right at your table. You sit around a table as a group and have that interaction with the chef. And you know, really get to see sort of, you know, the development of their meal right in front of them, and you know, the chef talks about the origins of the food. Our food is derived from, our flavors are derived from our chef Sergio Ortega. Comes from Morelia, Michoacan, the state of Michoacan in Mexico, and where a lot of the bases of our flavors come from. They're all based off the iron griddle, which is what we cook on. So we have these, what we call plancha tables throughout our restaurant. Our restaurant's called Descanso Restaurant.
What does that name mean?
Descanso means to take a break. rest, and that's sort of the vibe of our ambiance.
Take a breathe and get fat and eat good food.
Absolutely. Come in, get fat,
Because that's how I
put your
felt.
feet up,
So good.
and just let us do everything. Let us entertain you. Let us serve you. So we have the plancha experience, which is more of a multi-course meal kind of experience, and then we have the standard taco bar in that. You know, it's sort of designed as any street taco stand where you go up and order things a la carte, and the taqueros are making them right in front of you as well at that location. So there's multiple kind of experiences there.
So one thing that I mentioned a little earlier is that I feel that SoCal or Southern California, and that's from like LA to San Diego, or if you want to stretch it, Santa Barbara even, there's something unique about Southern California. I mean, besides diversity and, you know, there's not a political reason why I'm saying this is amazing. I'm saying like more like there's this unique flavor of openness in terms of trying out cultural foods, doing things like what you're doing. Maybe the weather helps. What do you think that's the case too? Because I've seen that when I compare SoCal to other parts of the country as a community for like business ventures. Yeah, like the flavor of like SoCal, like
Why it's you know
variety.
Definitely a big variety, and lack of a better term. I mean, the nature of Southern Cal is it's a melting pot, so naturally people gravitate towards, you know, different cuisines, and because there are so many cuisines done well in Southern California, that people are you know, open to it. I wouldn't say all, but you know, as I think we've sort of progressed in the culinary world in Southern Cal, you know, more and more people are open to unique and new experiences and new flavors when it comes to food, and even our Mexican cuisine has we've brought out different flavors and different dishes from Mexico that are not as common as others. And
like what?
Great response. For example, we serve a dish that's the champion of the flat top griddle called a alambre, and it is a great dish that you know, you don't see at a lot of you know, mainstream Southern California Mexican restaurants, but just packed with flavor. You know, similar to fajita, a little bit more finely chopped, mixed in with, you know, what we do is mix it in with a cheese blend, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Meal, and actually we're getting a lot of great response. I believe you had it.
I had the shrimp one, and I still dream about it. It's no, I love what you're doing, and but yeah, so for those who are tuning in, and we'll do a shout out on our kind of a post follow-up content, but it is Descanso, DESCANSO, and you know, it's a great spot, and you know, I can't wait to see it continue further grow, and it's only been around for what, a month or so.
We just hit our month mark, so we're fresh.
Good times. So Lisa, I'm just curious because, you know, what I loved about your background is that, you know, you've done, you know, building a business, PR marketing, being a radio host, you know, now what you call mentoring and giving back. And one thing I love about you is that you seem so lit up when I talk to you about the children's books and the media for, you know, what would someone tell the younger self. Tell us some more about how that came about and what you're doing.
Okay, well, I believe that people need to believe in other people.
Yep.
And so imagine I was this little shy girl. People can't imagine that. I think I'm really extroverted, and I'm actually introverted. When I first went on radio, and speaking, I used to cringe, or I would get very, very nervous. I actually had to teach myself, like, I'm not nervous right now, this is so cool. But, and so people naturally could just go do that. I was always like, how do they do that? You know, because I grew up very shy, without a lot of communication in my household. And, you know, a lot of times your environment, you know, will breathe that out of you. And so, I had, when I was 19, 20 years old, I worked for a company. I was a court reporter at the time. And this girl came in named Cindy, who went around and recognized who was, you know, going to be the ones that would rise to the top. So she rose me to director of marketing, and she used to tell me that she'd worked for so many companies and happened to move to El Paso, so she had a lot of experience with big companies. And she always said, Lisa, I've never met anyone like you. And she would say that over and over again. I started to believe it. At first I thought she's just saying that, you know. And so she would always say the way I was interested in business. I was interested in learning everything about the company. I knew everybody's key jobs. If someone was gone, I knew how to do any single job. And I thought everyone did that. Decades later, I said, where's that person? And so she mentored me, and 5 years later I left, and we cried when we left because we became really close friends. And she said, you need to leave here, you need to go, there's more things out for you, you need to be a CEO one day. When someone would say that to me, I was like, I could do that, and I still didn't think I could. So when I moved here, and I wanted to stay here, I love the weather, I didn't want to go back to Texas. No one believed in me, no one believed that I could make it here, so I wanted to prove them wrong. And so I figured it out, like, right? Entrepreneurs,
yeah,
you figure it out. How do you do it? You figure it out. If you want it, you'll get it.
Yep.
You'll find people who believe in your idea. Collaboration is key.
Absolutely.
So I a few years later did well. I also started doing art. I love painting. We contacted each other and we cried. It would have been like 12 years later. And I said, I have to tell you what you did for me. You believed in me, and I am where I am because of you. And she was like, oh, Lisa, she had this cute little Alabama accent. And she would say, it's because of you. And I would say, no. And in my book, Skip a Step, I write that when I share my story, it's important for us to believe in others. So I always felt paying it forward. I just always paid it forward with people. When I recognized someone that was good, you meet someone that excels.
Yeah.
And I want to help those because they have that DNA that they want to do more. And I feel like I have the experience to give them that. And then it's like I'm now, Cindy, giving that to other people. And I can tell you the amount of people I touch that years later, interns that I've taken in, and I teach them and I say, one day you would have to know this, one day you're going to have to know that. And I'm giving them real world scenarios. And years later they come back and say, Lisa, I have this job and it's because of you, same kind of story. And it's so gratifying to do that.
And so that led you to this book, which I really liked, the story
Skip a
behind it.
Step.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tell us
so-
the genesis behind that.
Thank you. So Skip a Step, written by me and my co-author Michael Ashley. It's taken us 2.5 years to do because we wanted 13 interviews. And so the subtitle is Heartfelt Entrepreneur Stories for Young Minds. So it's for ages 13 to 24. So we went around asking different people. One's a billionaire. One is Michael Gerber.
He wrote the E-Myth book, right?
He wrote the E-Myth.
Wow.
And we would ask questions as if they were speaking to that young person, right? Not speaking to me, the experienced person. Speak to them. Give them that voice. Give them that message. And that has been a world of fun. And they would say things like, when I asked Michael Gerber at the end, what is the meaning of life? And which is a common question to ask. And no one says it was to make a lot of money, by the way.
Right.
And to create, to have vision, to spend it with your family. So then I would ask other people the same kind of skip a step questions. And skip a step meaning, well, if I could have read this book when I was that 13-year-old girl, I would have been hungry for that knowledge, right? And there's so many people that have great stories. I love interviewing people. I have a show called Happy Lifestyle. And Ash, in doing Skip a Step, I did not know that I was going to now create the foundation for my book, The 5 Hats. And The 5 Hats is about happiness and balance in 5 areas that I drew from all my research. The first hat being family, the second hat being friendship, the third hat being business, career, the fourth hat being connection. We're all wired for connection.
Right.
The fifth hat being adventure. So what I found is people were most happy with themselves and their relationship when there was a balance, kind of like this board, right? Imagine that maximum is every level up. And what I found with a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, number three business hat, I was working myself too much, to death per se.
Yeah.
And my other parts of my hats, my areas of life were suffering. And I see this with a lot of people. We see this as you get older. And again, when you're out of college, I understand your business hat is going to be risen, but to be able to share with people balance, know where your partner is, and when I work with men who are CEOs, who are the ones that are working all the time, and they're just exhausted, and they have a different kind of relationship where the wife runs the household, and there's just disconnection all over. They're not happy. They are stuck because now they're running this company. Everybody needs them, and it's like they just sometimes want to run away from themselves.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. And I'm curious from both of you on this balance. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I have not struggled, but I've questioned, what does it mean to have a work-life balance? Is it a certain structure? Is it taking care of yourself and working every day, or doing something meaningful? How do you both manage your lifestyles? Because you both are actively out there, whether it's with a physical retail business like your restaurant and your other stuff, and you with directly touching people with your show and content. Rob, let's start with you. Like, how do you know if you're out of sync or if you're in a good balance? I'm just curious.
Well, first, if I'm out of sync, my wife will tell me.
Okay. What does she tell you? Actually, I want to hear that. Like, I mean, if you don't mind sharing for the people out there.
Honestly, she helps me a lot with balance in things that I really need to recognize, which is, well, balance is important, but to really sort of make time, really splitting your time, equally among things, and forcing those time frames. So that you don't overwhelm, the absence of one or the other. And so, I mean, it's pretty logical in my sense, but I think you just sort of need to be reminded, or need to remind yourself. You can't just go on autopilot. You need to remember, the important things in your life you need to pay attention to. And so having my life coach, which is my wife,
Awesome.
to help me sort of do that, really makes a big difference.
How about you?
I'm very intuitive. I just know. I can feel when there's an area that needs more attention. I would say it's something like you miss it. Like, I miss going backpacking.
Okay.
I've been doing that. And when you do it days on end, and then you're like, okay, this hat is full. Let's go back to something else. I feel it with my children if we're out of sync, with my relationship. And so my family, my children, they use that all the time, And my older son, I have a 28-year-old, and Matthew, he always would say in the beginning when I came up with the 5 hats, he's just like, oh, like, sometimes your kids want to, like, they just sometimes not support you, I guess. Or like, why are you doing that kind of thing? And so he uses that. He goes, I hate that I'm using your 5 hats. And for me, it was actually like, to me, when you're a parent, you try to impart wisdom, right? And
of course.
It's not perfect, you make mistakes, but I wrote Skip a Step too, that I tell people, you're gonna die one day. What did you leave behind? And whatever it is, since I am a writer, I could write, and I attract a lot of people who want to write their story because they feel that way too about their story, or they feel like their story could teach people, because we all have a unique story in us. And so in Skip a Step, my intention was for it to be like Chicken Soup for the Soul. Finish the first one, do different Skip a Step. The second one, actually, I have a 16-year-old that's going to help me do them about medical professions, interview 12 different doctors.
Nice.
In 12 different areas. So I need other doctors. I have 4 right now.
I got you there. I know a bunch.
Yeah. So again,
sorry to interrupt, but this is a positive. Well, maybe it's a positive stereotype, but you talk to anyone who has Indian American heritage, they have so many relatives that are doctors. So I know I got you on doctors. Yeah.
No, thank you. So yes, I have Jasmine Powers, 16-year-old, helping to do that. And then if you think about Chicken Soup for the Soul as an anthology, every story is different. What the easiest way to put a book together, right? So I'm thinking, how can we collect all this knowledge? So the first one's gonna just catapult all the remaining books to come, and I tell my children and other people, like, this is gonna be you to pass it on, building the framework. And then I just wrote a children's book called Unicorn Jazz. That's been the funnest thing in my life I've ever worked on, and been getting a lot of synergy and collaboration to build it as a brand.
So speaking of balancing, like, you have mentioned at least 5 creative projects that have been consistent, have been good, and that have taken your passion. How do you balance your creative time? Because it sounds like your brain doesn't stop, and that's good, but it sounds like you're like refreshed. You're like that guy or girl who's working out constantly. They're like, yeah, I can keep doing a workout 5 times a week or whatever. Like, how do you what's your tips? I'm really curious.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Is when I'm working, I'm creating, and
I
love what I do. And I think that we all have that in us. And I feel like as people become experts in their field, whatever it is, what they went to school to do, as they get older, they actually have ability to do more, create more, thanks to even technology, right? I have a 13-year-old who has a YouTube trade jam. He has 70,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And 40 million plus combined views. He said to me, Mom, one of the best things you did when I was 7, he's 13 now, was give me a computer and told him to learn video and YouTube. And so now, like, he's helping me, like, combining that collaboration. My work, I love to create. So when I get out of work, you go to work. I feel like I'm going to play in a sandbox.
Yeah.
And because I ran companies in all the departments, I know marketing and branding to a really high level, and I have a great team. I cannot discount my team. Delegating people, when they see you having fun in your playbacks, everyone wants to play in it, right?
Cool.
So I would say I get that, but I do take time. I live right by the beach. I love the ocean, and I never take advantage of that. I pinch myself that we live here in SoCal.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And I stay in touch with family all the time. I think it's important to stay in touch with family and friends and make them important as a relationship, even if it's phone calls versus text. So when we drive, here in SoCal, I make an appointment, like, haven't called this sister, haven't called that one. I call my mom up and check in and say things are going great. And so it's always important. I feel always call your mom or dad, if they're alive. They so appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, we have about 10 more minutes left, and I kind of want to go a little different perspective. I mean, we've clearly seen that both of you love what you do. You both understand audience space, like how to create products for audiences. I'm just curious, like, with 2019 coming down upon us, like, what are some trends or things or audiences or technologies or things that you are excited about or curious to learn more about, or you would suggest to someone to look into? And I'll start just to give you context. So I've already mentioned to you both and on my show that I love meditation and wellness. One thing that I'm feeling you're going to see more of next year is you're going to see more like wellness tech. So right now there's Fitbit. Right now there is, these headbands that you can have meditations, or there's, things that can see, your iPhone can check your, if there's, EMF waves or not. All these things that can, affect your mindfulness or, your calmness or state of that sort. I feel that you're going to see that with like clothes you wear. Like there will literally be clothes that say like you wear that will show you, okay, like, you're fatigued, or things of that sort. Like you're gonna see tech and fashion as what I'm trying to say. I'm really gonna look into that. Like, so as an example, like, are there any things, let's start with you, Rob, that you're kind of curious about or you're looking more into?
Well, I'm really curious about the current trend of dining, and
okay.
In kind of along the lines of what you just said, technology is taking dining into a new realm.
Yeah.
In that it's much easier to get anything you want delivered to you.
Yes.
Yeah, and so which I think really poses a lot of opportunity, because there are people that still want to get out of their house. As much as technology kind of straps us down to our homes in terms of having everything we need at the touch of our fingers, people want to get out and they want to experience things, but I think it just changes things. So, and where I want to currently take my restaurant, Descanso, it really sort of plays well with these trends, in that people, like I said before, experiential restaurant, people want to now, when they go out, they want more than just a meal, because that can be had much easier in the comfort of their own home. They want a unique environment, an interactive experience. But I'm really interested to see how the market reacts to what trends the consumers, the culinary consumers are going in when it comes to dining and whatnot. And I'm again excited for the fact that I really think we offer that experience.
You do.
That gets people out of their homes and wanting to come into an establishment, as opposed to ordering online and having it delivered.
Okay. How about you?
Yeah, so 2019 is going to be big. It's going to be big for Unicorn Jazz and the subsequent books, and I want to give shout out to the illustrator Davey Villalobos, who it cannot be a children's book without a great illustrator.
Right.
So that's going to be so much fun. I'm also teaching teens book workshops how to get their book published. So I'm working with a university right now locally. I can't say which one yet, but to do a teen book workshop so for those students that want to graduate high school as a published author, I'm helping them learn how to self-publish, get them on Amazon and Kindle. I do that for people of all ages. The teens are so much fun to work with. So just getting 84% of people want to write a book, and less than 3% actually do it.
A little bonus question, because I'm actually interested in the self-publishing stuff. What's your take on self-publishing on like platforms like Audible, like audio-based or voice-based?
Oh yeah.
So how's that different than, like, in your experience doing that versus the ebook? Like, whether audience or money or whatever, what comes to your mind?
Well, one, it's monetary better. It's a bigger brand using Amazon or Kindle, and it's not hard to do. I just helped Laura Feinstein publish a poem book. She just came out today. 2 months ago, she wanted to write a book, and she said, I don't want to learn how to do it. I just want to hire you. So
Nice.
I did everything for her. Put her on Kindle, paperback, and found all the graphic designer, Miguel Barrios, and just everything came together. Editor Blake Pinto, and I do that for people. So I'm doing it for teens now because I want to help young people publish and get that voice out more. I mean, if someone would have, again, done that to me when I was 10, Lisa, you can write a book, I would have been like, yes, sign me up.
Okay. Before I go, I just want to first say thank you both for being on the show. You both are, I loved hearing your perspectives. I love the passion behind both what you're doing. I mean, both whether it's innovating a traditional restaurant concept and going to the next level, and you like changing lives with the media and content and messaging. You both are doing great stuff, and this is the shameless time to promote these two people. So I'm going to put, first off, if you can see this is the name of his restaurant, Descanso. And if some of you want this coupon for a complimentary app or dessert, send me a note on Instagram Live or email me at ashkumra@kuci.org, and I'll make sure you get it. And Lisa is offering 3 free copies of ebooks, of digital versions of her book. Which book is it again?
Well, I will give Writing and Publishing Your Story. I'll give three of those away. Or if you want my book, Color Your Message. So I'll
Perfect.
Pick. So
Okay.
tell them how they're going to do it.
Yeah, so send me a note, ashkumra@kuci.org, and the first 3 people that send me a note, I will connect you with Lisa, and she will get you those books. So on that note, I just want to say thank you all. I'm looking forward to connecting with you all next week. We're going to have another great one, and, continue that journey. Again, support this station. This is a 24/7/365 endeavor, so please support KUCI. I'm going to give you their Instagram handle. It is at KUCIFM. Their Twitter is the same, at KUCIFM. And their Facebook is KUCI889. And if you want to reach to me, again, my social on Instagram is ashkumra, ASHKUMRA. And my email, again, is ashkumra@kuci.org. I'm going to play a little music before our next show comes on. But this is Ash Kumra with Entrepreneur Nation on KUCI 8.9 FM, signing off. And thank you all for what you do. You guys and girls make this show what it is, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks.